very happy to be here in Hungary, and thanks to TRAFO and the entire team of TRAFO for inviting me here. I hope you can hear me properly. No? Is it better now? Or should I try to be closer to the room? But can you hear me properly? No, it's manageable. Better. So thanks to Janos for giving me a wonderful introduction to the history of Hungary, because I was very clueless and I should admit that quite ignorant about what's in Europe, especially in Hungary. So the introduction was very good, but I don't know, I'm slightly confused about homelessness, because if are we talking about homelessness or are we talking about houselessness? Because if it's about houselessness, I think 75% of the Indian population would go to jail. But if it's about homelessness, because home is where we all come from. I mean, home is not about a structure or a physical structure. But houselessness, yes, it is an issue. So I don't know whether it's about houselessness or homelessness. So that is one thing. And thanks to Keiko for the informing us about the existence of the king's ability to bring rain. Because most of the kings, for example, I don't know whether you are aware that the Dalai Lama and his government in exile, they used to have a rain man. And I had the opportunity to be with the rain man for quite some time. And the rain man used to have the ability to bring in rain or even to stop the rain. It may sound very strange. And this rain man is the state rain man. I mean, he belongs to the state. He passed away recently. And it is an official title given to the rain man. So he had the power to bring in rain and he had the power to stop rain also. But the funniest thing is that very recently, I mean, I had to take a very rich industrialist from India to the Dalai Lama for an audience, and the industrialist came in his own chopper, and because of the snowfall, the chopper couldn't land. So the Dalai Lama's government sent the rain man. That the rain man should be able to stop the snow. So what happened is that when we were about to leave to the airport, I could see the rain man carrying an umbrella. So I asked the rain man, so why are you carrying an umbrella? You did not stop the rain or the snow. But this is a very old concept of having people in the official position to have the people who have the ability to stop and create rain. So there is nothing to laugh about it. So it is a very interesting thing. So again, we are going back to our topic, that is political design. So it's titled Social and Political Change Through Design. It's an area in which we are all trying to work on. So this is basically an organization which was started in 2003. I co-founded the organization. It is titled Design and People. But you will see quite a lot of overlapping because I formed two organizations. One in 1999, it's called the Friends of Tibet. And 2003, the Design and People. So a lot of our activities are, you will see kind of overlapping, because it's the same people and it's the same topic in which you all used to work. So when it comes to political design, just look at this image of the Obama's 2008. I mean, I'm just trying to ask you what's wrong with this political design. It is political design. So we have a wonderful page which shows Obama as the savior in 2008. And it has got a Twitter, it has got the news, you can even make phone call from it, you can register to vote, you can be a volunteer, you can do a lot of things. So, do you consider this a good or a good example for political design? I don't know, but I don't know how many of you. Obama. Then you have McCain's. I mean, this side is considered to be just slightly better than the Obama side. It's very, very user-friendly, very well designed. A lot of people have put their thoughts together to make this website happen. Then you have the beautiful woman from the US who recently had a very wonderful visit to Burma. This is her website that was again created in 2008. But look at the way it has been structured, look at the way it has been designed. A lot of thoughts, a lot of people, great teamwork. This is also political design. But when it comes to us, when we are not talking about the design, some time back, I was given a radio by a journalist who happened to be in Afghanistan. He was an Italian journalist who happened to be in Afghanistan. He presented me a small radio, which had only one station in it. So whenever you play it, you get to hear the Muslim slogans and the Muslim prayers, etc., only in Urdu and in Arabic language. So look at what the American soldier is doing during the Korean War. And all these are filled with propaganda materials. So this is also being used as a bomb. So, sorry for my low voice. Anyway, this is how the information is taken to different places and to different ways. You know, the millions of money is being pumped into these propaganda activities. So I'm just giving you another side of the political design. Now these pamphlets were distributed maybe 6 days before the bombings in Japan. And this is the English translation of the text which was printed on the back side of the literature. And on August 1st, these pamphlets were again bombarded all over Japan by the American soldiers in the similar manner, using these propaganda bombs. And these were dumped all over Japan, basically asking people to evacuate the place before something happens to you. And it's very interesting how it has been written, because what I have also put it in bold, where the Americans are telling the Japanese that, you know, the bombs have no eyes. So it is only the bombs which has got no eyes, but we have the eyes. So just imagine how they look at the ordinary people's lives. I mean, similarly in Iraq, first they go and bomb the people, then they bombard with chocolates. You know, so many sad stories from Iraq, how the people have been killed, so many people have been tortured, killed, and finally they themselves take the same children to United States for better treatment. So this is a typical way of, you know, this is all tactics of the war. So this is a very interesting leaflet which the Americans distributed in Japan just before the Nagasaki, the bombings. On August 1st, they distributed this, and on August 6th, till 9th, they bombed both the cities with nuclear weapons. So just to give you. So when it comes to political design, or when it comes to politics, I generally tell people, don't look at politics as don't look at it as an everyday politics. You know, it is not about everyday politics, but this is a doctrine of the today's world composition. And I think this is a very interesting statement from George Orwell, though I am not a fan of George Orwell because of what he did towards the end of his life. But according to him, in our age, there is nothing such as keeping away from politics, because every issue is politics. And this is from our own experience in India, that we find that every issue which we deal with is a political issue. I mean, it's not just a social issue which is being created. Sorry, just we just go through some of the examples. I mean, these are the projects in which design people was involved, and we will go through about 17 such examples of how changes can be brought in by ordinary people, and how the ordinary people change the way the things are. This first example, because we don't have clients, but we have patrons with whom we've been working for years. And this is actually a World with Tibet map campaign which we started some time back. And there is a reason why we started this World with Map campaign. This is Tenzin Sundu, who is a very known Tibetan writer and a poet, who is also an activist, and he is distributing the World with Tibet map. In fact, I have a map for all of you, which I'll give it after this session. And he's doing this awareness campaign in a monastery in South India. Now, this is a physical map. Just imagine, for a person like me who comes from Asia, who's got no idea about the places of the countries. We have France, we have Spain, then we have Germany also. This is a physical map which actually shows only the landforms of how the mountains are, where the lakes are, where the rivers are, where the plains are, but it doesn't really show the I'm just trying to show you the difference between a physical map and a political map. Okay, this is a political map of the same countries. It shows the governmental or the political boundaries of countries. But if a person like me, if I want to know a little more about where the Basque country is, where you have a conflict, I don't get any information from either a political map or a physical map like this. I don't get any information from it. So we always felt that we should now work towards a map which shows the countries which are under occupation, the countries which are not. We do have about 23 exiled governments in the world which are functioning, and we have several countries which are disappeared. We have several civilizations which are disappeared in the process. So we felt that it is very necessary that we publish a map which has got all these occupied countries to clearly, but in this context it was more about Tibet, it was not about other countries, but we really want to work on this map. Is this a map? It is a map, but this comes from the famous Colin Powell's presentation in February 2003. This is from his presentation to the United Nation. The Colin Powell was so effective in his presentation, which the Iraqis called the Hollywoodization of human rights issues, or which they said wonderful American production. So this comes from the Colin Powell's presentation. So this is also a map. This is also a map. I mean, is this a map or an infographic? Because it has got all the qualities of a political map, it has got all the qualities of a physical map. It shows the directions, it shows the locality, it shows the plains, the mountains, everything. But is this a map or is it an infographic? It is both. Actually, this is the Time magazine production of how the Osama bin Laden was killed in 2003, when he was actually not killed. So this comes from the Time magazine. Now, sorry, I'm always pressing the wrong button. And this is the final and the last, the killing, the second killing of Osama bin Laden. This is the final, the second killing, no? Because the first killing was in the Tora mountain, Tora Bara. So this is the first killing. So this is the second killing, or the actual killing. So this is also, I mean, it's an infographic. I mean, I'm just trying to show you how people use these things so effectively to fool the world. We are all been fooled in the last so many years, so effectively. By whom? The designer community. This is what the designers are doing. Like you have, we had a very terrible experience of witnessing play yesterday night, here only in TRAFO, which is like more like a wag the dog kind of situation, because you have a problem in Iran and you are looking for various ways to enter. So you have a play by young people which talks about Iran, the Muslim community, the drawbacks. So things like that. So I'm just trying to show you how the designers are playing a very crucial role in today's world. Now, this is an Oxford English dictionary which belongs to me, and this is how my Oxford dictionary looks like. This is a map section of the Oxford dictionary. This is a 1961 edition, and I'm still having this at home. But can you imagine what is there on the left side of the map? There is a map, but the map belongs to, any guess? Of course, it's an Indian map. So we have an Indian map which is blackened. This is another page in which the Indian map is been blackened. Because even today, if the political boundaries, if they are not shown correctly, you will not be able to distribute or even publish a book in which the Indian territories are not shown correctly, the political boundaries. Because we have several disputes with several countries, and including we have issues in Kashmir, in which we ourselves sometimes do not know how the Kashmir looks like. So we don't really allow. But these days what we do, because we don't have enough time to blacken all the political maps of India, so we just put a rubber stamp saying that it may not be accurate, the political boundaries, so please don't refer this. But this is how my dictionary looks like. So we thought we must have a map. So this is the first, the World with Tibet map, basically for education purposes, and it was released by the Dalai Lama's own principal translator, Lakdullah. It was released in 2007. This is a small program which we had. In fact, it was a small-sized political map of the world with Tibet in it. In India, we got absolutely no press coverage. But all the press coverage we got was from Mongolia and East Turkestan, with all the newspapers which had the anti-China stand. they published this report, and they're very happy that India is producing maps which is showing the occupied countries like East Turkestan and Mongolia, Inner Mongolia. So this is the second version of the World with Tibet map with newly formed countries. So this is in 2008. So things are changing every day because we get no control. Every year you may have to produce the political map because it keeps on changing. So we have the South Sudan in it. You can see how the South Sudan is being formed. You can see it in it. Now we have South Sudan, we have several other new countries which has been added. So this keeps on undergoing changes, the political map of Tibet. Now, as an organization, we not only produce, we also do these campaigns, because when we say campaign, our people go to different places, we distribute materials in schools and colleges, we do programs. So these are two photographs from the World with Tibet education campaign. One is in a settlement and one is in a Tibetan monastery in South India. But we also had problems with Citibank in 2009. In 2009 we had a problem with the Citibank because Citibank keeps on using the wrong map of India, because they use the map directly from Google, and Google has produced 3 different maps of India, not only India, even Europe maybe. So they produce a map which can be consumed by the people inside China. They produce a map which can be consumed by people in India, and they also have a general map which is normally given to the people in the United States in those areas. So we asked the Citibank to remove the map and to respect the territorial integrity of India by removing the map from the website. For a few days, there was absolutely no response from Citibank, but finally they wrote back to us saying that we do admit the error. And this came from North America, from the Citibank officials. And they even said that we fully respect the sovereignty and integrity of the country, and we had the immense pride in its own long association with India, and the people we are privileged to serve here. It was a very nice move, a very good gesture from the Citibank, at least to admit that we went wrong with the maps. But we also found that 8,000 diaries, the 2009 diaries of the Citibank also contained the wrong map of India. So we wrote to them again, almost at the same time. And what Citibank did, they gave an order to burn all the 8,000 copies of the diary, but not to keep a single one. But the printers suggested that, why do you want to burn it? We could simply replace it with, we will paste a new map on it. But the Citibank said, no, burn it. Don't keep a single copy. So we were able to make some changes with this Citibank map, and which they replaced it. But they replaced it with a map which now come from Map My India. So they use the correct map. According to us, the correct one. They use the correct map now. They don't use the earlier version of the India map. But
who's deciding on the correct map? Who's making this decision in India?
No, that's exactly what I was trying to say with the Oxford Dictionary. It's only the government version that, okay, these are the boundaries, we don't accept or we don't recognize these boundaries. But this is the image what we all have in our mind when we say India. No Indian can draw a map of India without Kashmir in it. So for us, it is incomplete. But the realities are different. 33% of the Kashmir is now with China, and a good part of the Kashmir is with Pakistan. So we do admit the realities, but at the same time, there are certain things which we cannot really accept So it is the people generally, I mean, not the state. So this is the map, but what Citibank did is this. They admitted the error in the map, but they added a disclaimer saying that now the Citibank has got nothing to do with the political boundaries or of the Indian map, but it will be the mapmyindia.com, which is actually an Indian company, which will be liable for all, if you want to take, you cannot drag Citibank to a court, but you can only drag MapMyIndia to the court. So this is what the Citibank did finally. But it was a very nice move from their side to bypass, and put somebody else. Look at this map according to the Google. So this is the map which is given for the people inside China, where you have no Kashmir in it, because the Kashmir belongs to, some 33% of the Kashmir belongs to China now. So they even show Arunachal Pradesh, which is a part of India, as a part of China. So we have one map created by Google for the Chinese people, and we have the other map which is given for people like us for India. So this is how they do it. In fact, there is a third map which I don't have an image. The third map is very different. It is to satisfy some of the governments. So this is what Google is doing. But why? There is a reason why the Citibank was so obedient and they're so quick in making those changes. Because we threatened the Citibank that if you don't remove this map from your website and from your diary, if you don't remove it in the next 1 week, we are going to have protest in front of your office in Bombay. Because we had done similar protests in front of the Google office in Hyderabad, in India. This is where we did the first protest. We did a 3-day-long protest in front of the Google office in Hyderabad. And this is a press conference which we had informing, because the way Google censors information, though it is a good search engine, we all love Google, I also use Google, but when it comes to the information, for example, you go to China anytime, you type designpeople.org, you will never get to see that, because the website is prohibited. You type friendsofTibet.org, it is prohibited. You cannot access Friends of Tibet or Design People from China. So all the website which they consider pro-Tibet or anti-China is being banned completely. It's prohibited. You cannot use. So this is a protest which we did in Google. We had the opportunity to meet with the higher authorities, and they even promised us some kind of help, but not much. Anyway, that is an old story. Now, this is another example of an organization which is called the Periyar River Keeper, because it's an individual who is known as the world's second river keeper, appointed by the Greenpeace. So it's a very ordinary man who studied only till the 8th standard, but who speaks not excellent English, but he understands everything. So this is the state of affairs with the Periyar River. It is not as long as the Danube River, which is I think about 3,000 kilometers, Danube, but the Periyar is only 240 kilometers, and it goes through several villages. And by the time it reaches the sea, this is how the Periyar is turned into, because all these industries which are situated near the Periyar is, dumping millions of toxic water, toxic materials into the river on a daily basis using illegal pipes underneath. This is how they are doing. Look at the color of the Periyar River, which is otherwise so clean. So this is the Periyar River. And look at the same river, same location, how the color changes. From yellow, sometimes, the local people there, they can easily make out which company is polluting Periyar by just looking at the color of the river. If it's violet, they will say, oh, this is done by the Mercom. If it's done, if they find yellow, they can easily tell us. So most people are equipped now. They can easily tell us which company is polluting the river. But this is a daily scene. But there are changes also. I'm not very pessimistic about what's happening in Periyar because there are a lot of changes also. And it is, according to the Greenpeace, it's one of the 35th toxic hotspots in the world. So we've been working for this organization for the last so many years. And does that look like a fiber board? What is on top, the first image? It is actually a fiber board that was given to the Periyar riverkeeper to do his patrolling, night patrolling, which is not in use now because it's in such a bad shape that you have a pumpkin growing in. So I called it a floating garden. He cannot use this anymore. But we proposed that, okay, we could redesign the board, we could come out with a new board, etc., which never materialized. But this is Jose, the uneducated, the simple BG Jose, who could do water testing. He could identify maybe hundreds of different fishes in the river, very knowledgeable that way. This is how he does the testing, and he is with this outdated water testing kit. So when Jose didn't have a boat to do his night patrolling and water testing, the design people came forward to say that we will buy you a boat. So we looked at the different budget, different boat. Finally he said, see, I don't want a boat which is again going to pollute. So I will go for a wooden boat. So we bought a wooden boat for him, which is now in use. So this is used by Jose for his activities. So this is another discussion place near the Periyar River, which is again built by designer people. So this is mainly for students to come there and discuss issues. This is a famous Save Periyar poster, which is now become the visual face of the Periyar campaign. Now, this is the Periyar Riverkeeper website. Thanks to Katharina Jordan, and who spent about 1 month in India. And she's from Germany, and she spent about 1 month in India working on this particular project. So thanks to all your initiatives from Germany. So she is going to be are you a part of the workshop? You are a part of the workshop. Good. So she created this website after spending about 1 month in India. This is a mural which we are making the day we had the tsunami in India. So we were fighting for the river. So by afternoon we were chucked out by the sea. Now this is March 20th is always being observed as an international protest day. And we were very much a part of the solidarity movement for the people inside Iraq. This picture is about the two children and the mother signing a petition which is to be submitted to the US ambassador to India, David Mulford. And we had about a 10-meter long cloth in which every individual signed and submitted this petition to the US ambassador in India. This is very much used during the protest, even otherwise, but the real protest came from the South Americans, who had a lot of problems with identifying themselves also as Americans. We said, we are not Americans, so please don't say America, but just say USA. But we couldn't really make the change, but this is a poster that we have used. And this is a death collecting signature from people. This was a one-day protest which we do it every year. I mean, the symbol actually shows. I mean, the symbol of this multi-purpose bomb, it belongs to the IMI, or the Israeli military industry, which is one of the oldest, the arms and ammunition factory in the world. I think they've been active even much before Israel was formed. So this is how the bombs, I mean, the multi-purpose bombs have been displayed during the sale of arms. And if the missile is being able to penetrate the 4 levels of the concrete, of which has got 20 centimeter thickness, then it's a real bomb. I mean, a real multi-purpose bomb. This is how they sell their missiles. And this is the documented civilian deaths according to the Iraq body count. Because I keep a check almost every week, and every week you can see the number of the civilian death being increased. So this is this is as equal as the number of American soldiers participated in the Iraq war. This is from the Friends of Tibet Well-Being, the medical camps, what we organize. Because there is a reason why we started this. When the Britishers were ruling India, we had only the allopathic system of the English medicines. So when they left India, they also, I mean, it is in records that the Britishers have said that even if we have to leave the country one day, we want to make the Indians a slave to our system, which is their allopathic system. So to an extent, they're absolutely right. Today, I would say a majority of the people are a victim of the allopathic system. It's the same in Europe also. I mean, this is how I was asking some of the Hungarian friends, whether Hungary allows alternative medicines, in the practice of alternative medicine. But according to this, only the qualified people are being allowed to treat people with alternative medicines. But this is a slightly scary situation, because we hear that the usage and the promotion of alternative medicine are completely going to be banned all over EU state. I don't know how far the information is correct, but we hear that there is going to be a prohibition on the usage and promotion of alternative medicine. So we started this Tibetan medical camps, which we do it every month very religiously, and we started with the first Tibetan medical camp in 1999, and it still continues in different places. These are the pulse diagnosis. If some of you must be knowing, they diagnose the disease with the pulse, not the pulse count. The Tibetan doctor or an Ayurvedic doctor can identify about 3,500 different types of fevers, where an allopathic doctor can only identify maybe 20 fevers from the medical reports. So this is a very ancient way of treating diseases, and the very ancient way of diagnosing the diseases. So this is two photographs from the pulse diagnosis. Maybe I should skip this, because this is something which I generally ask people. Whether can you identify this this diagram from? Can you identify this? I'm sure all of you would, because you belong to Europe. This diagram, I have made it a little out of focus so that you don't recognize it. Sorry. Yeah, that's correct. So it is the famous 1931 London underground tube with the diagram, which is now being very effectively used all around the world by Charles Beck. So this belongs to him, and I mean his philosophy was very, very interesting. That he believed that a person who travels by the train is not really bothered about the geographical accuracy, but he only wants to know where he gets in and where he has to get down. So he simplified the whole thing. But today, all over the world, even in India, you will see beautiful diagrams of the tube and the underground railway system, but all based on Henry Beck's 1931, the diagram of the underground tube. Now, why I asked you this question is also to ask you whether you can identify this diagram. Can anybody identify this diagram? This is a very interesting diagram, and you won't believe that this is about 100-year-old diagrams, and that come from a very interesting personality, and a lady who is a mathematician, who is a statistician, who is also a nurse. It doesn't come from a designer. And that's, look at the way she has done. I mean, these were used during the Crimean War, when the Soviet Empire was fighting the British and the French and the Turkish. So her diagrams really helped in bringing the mortality rates among the soldiers, especially the Indian soldiers who were fighting for the British Empire. So this comes from Florence Nightingale, I mean, who is known as the lady with the lamp, because she had the habit of going around with a lamp at night. So this is a very, very interesting diagrams. I mean, why I was showing you this diagram is because we had a similar situation with the medical camps. Because this is how we used to do the registration for the thousands of patients every month. So we all used to keep this small notes in our pockets. So whenever somebody calls up and says, I want an appointment with the doctor on this day at this time, we just write it down, then we inform other people by SMS and things like that. So everybody is updated, you know. So this is the first form, and this is the second slightly modified form. But everybody used to keep this in our pockets to do the registration every month. So luckily we had a person who was again not a designer, who came forward to offer us a help, a technical help. And this is the booking journal what we have now, which is online, which can be done from anywhere. I was even updating this yesterday from here. So I could do my work using this software. All of our campaigners who are involved with this medical camp, they use this particular online tool to do the registration, which is very complex, but he has simplified everything for us to do. This is our booking sheet, which will show you the telephone numbers and the place they come from, the family group, the camp groups, and which doctor they belong to. It's a very complex system, but now it is very simplified. And this is the database of the medical camp. We got thousands of people who have been in it, and everything is very well documented. The registration name, where they come from, their address, which doctor they consult, etc. These are different categories. And this is where one can check the online status. And this website is in Malayalam and also in English. Now, this is a small campaign which we started years ago. It is called the Renzan Band campaign. This is actually the Renzan Band, what I'm wearing on my hand. This is because the Tibetan prisoners who were in the prison, they had nothing else to do in the prison. So they used to sing songs, they used to share stories, but many political prisoners had to spend 20 to 25 years in the prison. So when they had nothing to do, a reincarnated monk, who was by the name Yulodava Rinpoche, he came out with a small concept that he will take out his towel and he will make these Ringzhen band with 9 eyes in it. He is Yulo Dewa Rinpoche, and this is a Ringzhen band. And he made the first Ringzhen band inside a Chinese prison. So when the Chinese guards came to know about the Ringzhen band, they too started wearing this Ringzhen band without knowing the political significance of the band. So when they came to know about the political significance, they immediately banned the Ringzhen bands inside the Chinese prisons. So today, if somebody is found to be wearing a Ringzhen band inside Tibet, inside China, he can go to jail for at least 25 years. So the people in outside Tibet today, they wear this as a solidarity with the Tibetan people inside China who are suffering under the Chinese rule. So I got one Ringzhen band for all of you. Please collect it before you leave. So you can wear it to show your solidarity, or you can keep it, or even gift it to people. So I'll give you one.
5 minutes left.
Really?
That's what I said.
But now I think maybe I'll just go through this. Maybe, okay, now this is a Martyr Pillar project. So this is the inspiration for the Martyr Pillar, because I come from a state where we have more Martyr Pillars than the martyrs. And this is the very famous memorial for the martyrs of 1946 uprising in Kerala. So I was thinking that there are 1.2 million Tibetans who are sacrificed their life for Tibet. So when I travel to the Tibetan settlements in India, I see absolutely nothing, no mention about the Tibetan political prisoners and the people who have given up their life. So we started making the first Tibetan martyr pillars in 2003. It was a 3-year-long project in India, in Bhutan and Nepal. So we had to travel for 3 consecutive years to make this project happen. It was not actually a Martyr Pillar making project. It was called the Nonviolent Action for Tibet. It was a part of the workshop which we did in India, Nepal and Bhutan. So every Tibetan settlement today has a Martyr Pillar inspired from the Punapravila pillar. So these are some photographs from the... so this is a Buddha Smiles education project. It's an architectural project which we did in South India. This is a beautiful school that has been built by our architects. A very small school, self-sufficient. And this is a small team of design people, architects who are there at the site. And this is how the meetings have been held. The founder of the school is explaining how things have been done and what needs to be done. And he's the great cook who serves us food all the time. And these are the kids when we started, but now it has got a lot of kids. So this is the small thing what we did for the Suraj Trust, basically explaining the word Suraj, which is a slightly complex word in a sense. It's a word, it's a very Vedic or a very old term that we used to use and which was very much in use in India earlier, but not anymore. So this is a diagram which we did. It's more like a visual thesaurus for those who cannot really understand the meaning of Swaraj. Even for Indians like us, it's very difficult for us to really define what Swaraj is. So this is something which we developed, but it is not the end of it, because a lot of people keep on developing it. Those who know the term better, those who know the subject better, they develop this further. So sometimes they write to us, those who have skills in design, they redesign it and send it back to us. Another example of an organization that we work for, it is a Cancer Children's Welfare Society in South. this is their website inauguration done by a German designer called Sandy Kaltenborn. He's a social designer based in Berlin. He did the inauguration of the website. Now, how many minutes? 3 minutes left.
But should
Can
we
you-
have a 3-day workshop
Oh,
to
yes.
get through all this?
So, yeah, maybe, I think. Okay, now say maybe the last one. I'm sure all of you know about what happened in India with the Anna Hazare movement very recently. It is not a continuation of the Arab Springs, though a lot of people believe that it is a continuation of Arab Springs, but it is not. But it is a very, very genuine movement which actually failed at the end of the day. So we were very much part of the campaign in trying to do whatever we could from different places. And this was the situation in India, which we never had. Absolutely no traffic. This was a cab design for the Anna movement. Maybe I will have to skip. But I'll just run through this. You can read it and maybe we'll finish in five minutes. This is a colonization. Is Mr. Warren Anderson, who is responsible for the death of more than 20,000 Indians in the Bhopal gas tragedy. The US government says that he is nowhere, but he was found to be living in his luxurious apartment in New York. And this photo was taken by Greenpeace in 2003. These are the ordinary people demanding Warren Anderson, who is responsible for this corporate crime. This is a Europe-centric campaign, which we had to do it for Mont Blanc and Swisscom. But Mont Blanc didn't respond, but Swisscom did respond to our request. They didn't really withdraw the Gandhi campaign, but they were quite apologetic about using Gandhi for their commercial activities. So this was a small postcard which we sent to both Swisscom and to Mont Blanc. So Gandhi never required either a BlackBerry nor a Mont Blanc to communicate with people. Anyway, if I go through it, it will take a lot of time. But again, thanks to Amnesty for giving us these wonderful diagrams every year, because the number of deaths has never come down. It keeps on increasing. China continues to execute 2,000-3,000 people every year. But look at the most civilized nation also. It is also there in the list. I mean, in the list of Saudi Arabia and Libya, you also have the United States. Executing the maximum number of people every year. But okay, now I have some pictures which we obtained in the year 2003 by a source in Lhasa, in the Lhasa radio station. These were smuggled to India, these images, and how the Chinese, the soldiers do their executions every year, especially with young people who are involved with political activities. So these are little gruesome pictures of how the Tibetan people have been paraded across the state, across the street, and how they are finally brought to open grounds like this. And this is how they do the public executions. And this is being done almost every year. About 3,500 people are always being executed. But according to one amnesty report, it says that according to a PLA official, the number of people who are executed could go up to 10,000, not 3,500. So this is how the executions are being carried out in China. So these are our long-term campaigns. Now he's our general secretary who embarrassed the Chinese president and the premiers twice in 2003 and 2005. We consider this to be a very, good victory for us, because we will not be able to embarrass the Chinese the authorities. But the recent, last week we had a court judgment, because we've been fighting the Chinese embassy in New Delhi for the last 5 years with the court case, and they have found 3 of us guilty. He is being guilty of climbing somebody else's property and trying to commit suicide from the top, which is a complete lie, because it was a protest. And I have been charged with conspiracy, which is a non-bailable offense in India. According to the section 620B, it is a non-bailable offense. So some of us might be punished in the process, but that takes years. So in India, it takes a long time. Actually, there is a beautiful ending to this presentation, but since we don't have time, maybe I'll shift to Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, whenever. So it takes just 2 minutes, but I think she's a bit impatient because she has to do the next presentation.
We have to leave.
Yeah.
The space.
Oh, we have to leave the
So
space.
we have a
Yeah.
time limit.
Yes.
That's why I'm urging.
Okay.
Okay, so now we will have a 10-minute break, and then we restart